Hey there guys, it's Joey and this is the vlog video for my week with the first of the Witchling Oracle cards, which was Inspiration. So we went over the meanings in the initial video, just to quickly recap on what it actually says on the bottom of the card actually. An inspired mind is willing to reach beyond limitations. Boy, was that a message this week, and limitation after limitation came through this week with the energies to try and sort of inspire, rise above it, I think. But we will read through my experiences anyway and talk a little bit about it at the end. First, a quote from Wild Woman Sisterhood: "Surrender and let the universe catch you." I've noticed a lot of swallows around whenever I walk around the village. Whenever I see them, they are in motion, high in the air, swooping, dancing, always together, at least two or three. Also, some people had posted them on Facebook. I believe Maria Garner had posted them on her Facebook. Swallow Totem, or the lesson of the swallow, is teaching us the power of objectivity, of community, of fellowship, and communications in a group environment. Can teach discernment or proper actions to avoid threats with tenacity, style, and class. Swallow shows us how to think quickly, react appropriately, and to use the power of thought to manifest ideas. Creating something from nothing, ingenuity, determination, and innate skills will help capture what is necessary for you to succeed. Move with the flow of thoughts and ideals, and in cooperation with others. Is also connected to the Ogam Ivy and partnerships within Celtic meaning. That next day there was a lot of smoke in the sky, and coming home I saw a huge black cloud shaped like a raven. It gave me chills. This thing was huge, like full on sky huge, and it was just this plume of smoke going up caught my attention, and it rose up and I saw this great big massive dark cloud in the shape of a raven. It was insane. It gave me chills, like I said. And then this is something I had been mulling over. I've been working this week to release something which bothers me, or did bother me, and it was how my quote-unquote friends from the past reacted to me changing, or discovering who I was, or waking up, and reacted to the fact that they found out about what I'd gone through at the hands of my parents. Quick recap, their reaction was not positive. Almost all of them reacted in a way which was basically, I don't want anything to do with you anymore, you're tainted. So for a long time that really bothered me, and there was one guy in that group who for most of my young life I considered him my great love, my soulmate. I loved him like I'd loved nobody else for a long time, and he not only broke my heart but left me with some scars, and as in emotional scars, like telling me to just get over things like that. So this week I was working through that, and I wrote this. For a long time I felt bad that I wasn't what they wanted me to be. I wasn't ever going to be at home in their world. The smarmy comments up front and the backstabbing behind the back, the family barbecues where you were measured by the wealth of your family, who you knew, who you were related to, where what you owned, the income you earned, the job title you had were paramount, where real problems were swept under the rug because they were ugly, And then one day I realised I was a problem for them. I couldn't be moulded into what they were, and so instead they shut me out. And hell, I am proud of the fact that I can't be tamed. And it was actually, can't be tamed was actually an image. So it was sort of my thoughts relating to that image that had resonated with me. Sometimes I wish I could scream certain lyrics at people. Do you ever hear a song and you think, you know, this sums up how I feel about this person's behaviour towards me? Well, I got the new Kyla LaGrange album. Fantastic, absolutely adore her. And one of the songs goes like this. I'm not going to sing, I'll just read it. It's too early on a Monday morning for me to be singing. So what do you do when you're all alone and no one's there to see you stray? Who do you tell where you buried the bones when no one's going to make you pay? Oh, I don't hate you, but did you really think I'd stay? I'm not one of your mistakes. So I've had that energy around me, like, and I've been releasing that a lot this week. Like, you know, I'm not gonna play into the player's game, I guess. There's definitely an olive slash white slash cream theme going on right now. I have all my beauty products for the summer are that sort of colour. There's been those sorts of colours around. And in terms of colour magic, olive is a little bit one of a difficult one to pin down. So instead I took the sort of olive meaning from olive leaves and things. Masculine, sun, fire, healing, peace, fertility, potency, lust, protection. I think it's very, very much coming up to Letha type energy with the olive. Also, there has been a heck of a lot of lavender around. There's been the herbs everywhere. It's starting to bloom outside my garden. Hang on 1 second. So this is the first of the lavender from my garden, which is drying in the marvin bowl. But it's not just been that, it's been imagery everywhere and people commenting about stuff, and lavender oil, essential oil uses popping up here, there and everywhere. And it did turn out to be very important this week, and we will touch on that in a second. The next bit in here is the spell work, which is already up, and of course lavender is really key to that, as it stimulates the conscious mind and stabilizes the emotional and etheric planes, cleanses an environment as well, neutralizing disharmonious, say that 5 times fast, frequencies. It's basically a really great herb for purification, particularly if you're looking for maybe a seasonal purification herb. But really, there's been a lot of the whole meditative symbolism around this week. Path walking, becoming aware, becoming more psychically aware and getting ready for metamorphosis. And lavender definitely has that energy, because it's basically like, get yourself into that meditative state and chill the F out, because there's been a lot of stress this week. Not just from me, but like everywhere, like everybody has been really stressed this week. So lavender is a bit like, chill the F out everybody, and just calm down, and just go into your meditative state and go inwards and reflect. And that's why the symbolism spell came with the salt, because it's like, sort of engage with your unconscious self, look at the symbols that are being thrown up, and you will find your way to where you're meant to be going. You will become inspired to find your path. So some of the crystals that meant a lot this week were obviously amethyst, and there's plenty of amethyst in shop, so I don't have to run off and get some of that. It's at the back there, and there's some in the offering bowl. Amethyst sort of connects in with the lavender, if you ask me. Obviously it has the colour, it's the same colour, but also it has the crown chakra, the connecting to the divine, your higher purpose, your psychic awareness, receiving messages, that sort of thing. It also provides a very, very strong chill the F out energy, again, grounds and protects you, particularly on a spiritual level, like if everything's coming at you from a spiritual psychic attack sense, you can use amethyst as a shield. It's very good for that. It also, interestingly enough, is a stone which frequently gets associated with don't be drunk. And when I think of that, I always reject that because I'm like, bleh. But if you think about it, if you think about it on like an emotional level or on a psychological level, don't get drunk on negative energies, don't get drunk on fear. Basically, balance out and calm down. I'm not going to go grab some of the other crystals because they're still in the standing stone grid. There is one or two I can grab. So Charoite, endurance in adversity, awakens analytical abilities and imparts vigour. Determination in overcoming obstacles. So Charoite was sort of assisting in the next stage. Ametrine for the balance, the equilibrium, the sort of overcoming mental and emotional blockages. It's a very good stone for balancing physical with spiritual, in my personal opinion. And then we have one of the crystals that's been following me around everywhere, and I will go grab the wand. It's the interesting thing having this stood up, I can move around a bit easier. So the crystal that has been following me around last week and this week, I got a wand this week, is ruby in lepidolite. I love this thing. I love it. So the lepidolite is the hope stone. It supports us when we're in times of change. It helps balance mental and emotional stress and is all about transition, transformation. And being inspired, when you think about it, is very much about transforming yourself, transforming your mental processes. Although this week it's been all about overcoming those limitations, so it's been sort of the build up to transformation, if you ask me. I'll be interested to see which card I pull when I have finished doing this. And then the ruby side of ruby and lepidolite is the overcoming lethargy, it's the kick up the bum, it's the heightened awareness, heightened concentration, and helps us guard against fear. So basically, this little bad boy, and we'll pop it in there for the time being, is all about transformation. It's about the hope side of it from the lepidolite. You know, you're going to be fine, you're going to balance out your emotions, we're going to balance out that fear, you're going to chill you out, we're going to calm you down, you're going to be fine. And then the ruby side of it is like, you can do this, come on, get up, go. And it's amazing, basically. And obviously I talk about that in a second, the wand. As I went to the next town over and picked up some more eucalyptus essential oil, which we did a whole video on, so I don't think we need to go into too much. It's really great for hope, again, hopefulness, and clearing out all of the funk from your chakras, from, you know, anything that congests you and stops you being who you want to be. Eucalyptus is fab for it. I also picked up a magnetite lodestone, 3 more lepidolite, and a labradorite, a black moonstone. I haven't actually used the magnetite yet. That may be going into next week, and I'm going to talk about labradorite in a minute because I got another one. I know. Quote from Do It Girl: "To make a difference, be different." And I actually wrote this. This is entirely Nadia's, and she wrote it in her Lady Jane's Bewitchery. So this is entirely hers, this before I even start reading it. Full moon is in Sagittarius, the sign of the truth speaker and the truth seeker. In recent days, truths have been revealed to us in all personal, professional universal levels. Many of us have made new choices, created a new truth for our lives. You are cautioned to remember the powerful quote by Maya Angelou: "When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Do not turn away from the truth being shown to you. It is no coincidence or error, it is a clear reality check and message from the divine." The Sun in Gemini focuses us on how we use our minds to perceive, process and understand life. The Sagittarius moon focuses us on how that mind sees the truth of our lives, what meaning we give to our perceptions and what judgments and beliefs we develop about what is possible. It is time to face the truth. ... We create our life experiences, the meaning we give to people, words, events and experiences. Our emotions / reactions are our choice. ... Ego is fear, and fear tells us what we can and cannot be. Truth, all is possible. ... Step into the truth, illuminated by the gifts of our current cosmic support and gifts. Whew. I am reading from here. I am so ready for the release energies. Leading up to the full moon, I have felt restricted, almost in suspension, forced to be the role of the silent observer, hovering above everything, no movement, no action, just the quiet stillness. Usually I would find that peaceful, restful, but lately it's felt more of a bind. Perhaps that's the agitation that comes with summer for me. I'm not a summer fan, sorry guys. Or the in general, but I feel squished up against the dam and I'm ready for the breakthrough. There has been a lot of constrictive energies right now, and almost the lack of inspiration, that obstacle to try and make me and perhaps everybody to overcome those limitations. Those limitations have been so strong this week. Everybody's been feeling limited and bound, and the energies in the universe have been sort of almost geared to hold everybody the F up to make people, and that has led to frustrations and irritations and aggressive sort of feelings flying about, people being annoyed and peed off and all the rest of it. And I honestly think that's been on purpose, building up to this big release energy. Quote from Spirit Science: "Your mind is a garden, your thoughts are seeds. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds." I'm going to point out here that weeds too are useful and necessary, and so it is with negative thought processes. There is something to be learned from both. So I really like the idea of the quote, which was basically, you're in charge of your own mind, which is harkening back to what Nadia was talking about. What we allow will persist, you know, what we put out there will flourish. If we're just going to put our negative thought processes out there and we just expect everybody to work around them rather than working on ourselves, then we create problems for ourselves. I don't agree with the idea of, you know, weeds being a negative thing, because obviously, say, dandelions are considered to be weeds and they're an awesome flower, herb, weed, however you want to see it. Also, with negative thought processes, if we're continuously growing those in our mind, that tells us something we need to know about us. Like, okay, we need to focus on overcoming X, Y, and Z. So for me, when I'm having dreams about these people from my past, and I'm like, oh, I've had enough, I don't want to be dreaming about these people. I don't want to know about them anymore. I don't want them in my life. They're not really in my life as much as possible, you know. I sometimes get mentions of them through people who still have something to do with them, which I'm considering removing, but it'd be a shame because I do get on with, I think it's only one person left now, that has sort of interactions with those people. But I'm getting frustrated, right? So I'm like, I don't want to dream about this person in particular. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what they're doing. I don't want to know this, that and the other, that they're carrying on with what I consider to be, you know, you miss your magazine cut out how life is supposed to look plan. I'm pretty sure that's what he's got it in his head, and you know, this is what life is supposed to be, and I'm going to stick to this rigidly, and everyone who doesn't isn't worthy, and all the rest of it, and I don't want any part of that. That doesn't interest me. I've said on many times, you know, I'd rather be by myself than surrounded by fake. You know, I I just don't want it anymore. And so me keeping dreaming about that was like, oh my God, universe, what are you doing to me? I don't want to. And what actually comes about with it is, okay, there's something here you need to deal with. And I'm like, okay, well, I've dealt with the fact that when I first had new news about these people, it bothered me, it irritated me, and it upset me a bit because of, you know, it's always going to hurt you when people basically reject you, especially when things are outside of your control. Like, oh, we're going to reject you because you were abused as a kid. Well, thanks, guys. You know, we're going to reject you and oust you because you're not the strong individual anymore. You're breaking down because of what's happened to you. Well, thanks. That's big-hearted of you. Thanks a lot. And obviously that's going to bother anybody. It bothers me. And so that is why this week I have been working through it. Working through why it still knocks me off sometimes, and them undermining my self-worth, and getting to a point where that no longer is the case. Especially when you know, one of them is this deep love that you had, inverted commas, and for you it was honest. It was the real honest to God, you know, relationship stuff. And you honestly loved them, and you honestly gave it your all, and you showed them who you are, even when you're at your lowest of low points in your life, and they turn out not to be who you thought they were, and wow, you know, of course that's going to bother you, of course it is, and of course it's going to bother me. But I've been working through this week to get to the point where I'm like, you know what, you're not important enough anymore. And I may carry those memories. I hope I don't. I kind of want to release them, but I'm just accepting and trying to work through it, you know. Okay, so then I received 2 more crystals, and I didn't actually make a video on these 2 crystals, so if you're bothering to watch this, you're getting insight into 2 more crystals. Woo! I may stick these on another video, but you know. So the first was a second labradorite, also known as black moonstone or temple of the stars. I got it in a generator, as well as some black kyanite. So let me go back to the meanings I wrote down for the first one. Helps traverse changes, strength, perseverance, providing clarity to psychic sight, a stone of transformation. In the lore of the Inuit people, labradorite is claimed to have fell from the frozen fire of the aurora borealis, an ordinary stone that transforms to the extraordinary, shimmering and mystical light that separates the waking world from the unseen realms. It is in every sense a stone of magic, a crystal of shamans, diviners, healers. For self-discovery, it is excellent for awakening one's awareness of inner spirit, intuition and psychic abilities. It's considered to be one of the most powerful protectors of the mineral kingdom, creating a shielding force throughout the aura, strengthening natural energies from within, protects against negativity and misfortunes of the world, to allow self-exploration, exploring in different levels of consciousness, and facilitating visionary experiences within a safe space. It also tempers the negative side of our own personality, assisting us in helping to overcome self-destructive behaviours. Say hello. Oh, say hello. How beautiful am I? Look at my shimmers. Oh, look. I'm in love with this thing. I held on to this the day it came, and I've held on to it quite a lot since. I also got some black kyanite. Hello, Ange! Which side is the fan side? Is that? Yeah. It's shimmery too. So, black kyanite, the revival stone, high vibration, shamanic crystal. Both of them are quite shamanic, which is nice. Grounds and protects. Can clear blocked energies in any chakra, deepens our connection to the physical natural world. It brings power and strength, relieving fears associated with physical existence here on Earth. Provides protection and a retreat from the safety of... Provides a protective retreat the safety of being hidden from your enemies. Clears imbalances that cause you to feel drained. Also can rid you of any negative entities hanging around. Also had a very kind experience with a new friend, Tracy. Hello. We'll keep that between us, but it's a new friendship and it's growing and I'm honoured to be part of it. Okay. Full moon in Sagittarius, spread your wings, leave it behind, rise and soul, do it girl. Pop some eucalyptus in the bath this week, which I've mentioned 3 times now. It's well worth doing, it was incredible. Inspiration spell. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I shared this, I wrote this yesterday with regards to the Wheel of Fortune card from the Wild Unknown tarot deck. And I wrote this is mine, Joanne Morris 2014, alright, so deserve. And this kind of ties everything together actually, it's kind of interesting. The thread is tied around your branch and pulls you from within, a melody in different shades that calls under your skin. We all can soar on feathered wing or trip on gnarled uproot. Flat on your back you watch the stars and wish on those that shoot. It only takes a second, the time it takes to blink. Remember what you're worth, grow instead of shrink. Don't be delicate, be vast and brilliant, unknown author. And Polish proverb, every time you feel yourself getting pulled into other people's nonsense, repeat these words, not my circus, not my monkeys. Do not let the behaviour of others destroy your inner peace, Dalai Lama. And then I wrote about dreaming about people from the past again, and some thoughts on that, which we've kind of already covered. So just those final things are, you know, not allowing people from the past to destroy your future. So that's the general theme of that. So the poem that I wrote is a little bit about the interconnectedness, which I guess is the last point. We've talked about, you know, what our truths are, seeking truths, seeking and what we allow will continue. We've talked about that, and that's very much where the moon energies were, and that's very much where the whole sort of restrictive bind observer energies came in. It's basically forcing you to see what's going on, not allowing you to be free enough that you might miss something. It's literally hold still and see. So then the final energy from the very tail end of the week was basically about the interconnectedness, how we are all connected. And the thread thing kind of ties back to my relationships with these people, in so much as that there's a lot of mythology about thread, and I think it's Japanese, about people having threads tied, or invisible cosmic threads tied around them and tied to another person, and that person will keep coming back into their lives or keep popping up or until the business is resolved or whatever, and that certain people are destined to meet. That's true with a lot of cosmic theology, I guess. You know, that people who are meant to meet in this lifetime or in many lifetimes will meet, that they are connected by this thread. So the interconnectedness of people is kind of one of these unavoidable things, and therefore if you are connected to somebody emotionally, that's something you need to be considering and looking at, especially if it's really of no benefit any longer. I actually did a tarot reading. I was instructed to do a tarot reading in my dream about this guy. And it was talking about, in the tarot reading, interestingly enough, it sort of addressed, you know, him, not me. And I was like, okay. And it was basically, the tarot reading was very much, you know, he has unrealistic expectations for where he is, and thinking this will all work out. And there's a level of in the tarot reading, there's one of the messages was unrealistic fantasy. And I was sat there thinking, is it me? Is it me being unrealistically fantastical about it? But then the following card was a male card, a male archetype card, and it just describes him to a T, and I was like, right, okay. And the thing is about it though is that if I look at that and I'm like, I'm not going to get emotionally invested in that message, because if he's about to screw up his life, that's his business, not mine. And I have to get myself to the point where I'm like, I have to emotionally unhook my emotions, untie, stop that thread, allowing me to focus any of my time or energy on this person. It's not worth it. It's not something which matters anymore enough for me to spend my time and energy thinking about it. Now obviously I'm talking about it right now, so to a point I've kind of failed on that thing. I'm obviously going to think about it, but I can stop myself thinking about it anymore. You know, this is basically me being like, I acknowledge that I clearly still feel that thread to that person. I acknowledge that fact. I've acknowledged that on a personal level right at the start of this lessoning, so I was like, if I acknowledge that I felt that way and things, is that not a no? Apparently that's not enough. So I acknowledge that that tie is still there and that still bothered me, and now I have to find a way to release that. And if he screws it up, that's his business, and just let it go, you know, just whatever. Easier said than done, right? So basically the whole inspiration has been a really weird thing, because I thought at the beginning of this week it might be about examining what inspires a person and how I interact with inspiration. Now I don't have any problem with being inspired, and my inspirational processes, my crafty processes, although slowed a bit this week, haven't stopped. I've still been having ideas, I've still been engaging with crystals and things and creating things, so my inspired energies on that sense didn't get examined at all. I guess they are, for the time being at least, where they need to be. So it's basically been about those limitations. It's about being an inspired mind, about using your mind to overcome the limitations, whether they be internal, which for the most part they've been internal this week, or external, which we've definitely had some of those as well this week. Limitations in all problematic areas. So yeah, so that was this week with the Inspiration Witchling Oracle card. I hope I've made some measure of sense. Many blessings.